Hallå allihopa, välkomna tillbaka från lunchen. Jag hoppas att den satt bra. This next presentation will be held in English, and without further ado, I leave over for Peter Buhl, CEO of CHOSA Oncology. Please welcome.
Thank you, Oliver. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to speak here today. So I'm the CEO and also one of the co-founders of CHOSA. My background, I'm a medical oncologist, so I've been working with cancer sort of half of my life, also as a professor at Rigshospitalet in Copenhagen. We had a laboratory there that I founded, Laboratory of Experimental Medical Oncology. Later on, I was one of the founders of TopoTarget, a Danish listed company, and we had 2 products approved in the US based on our activities there. You may also have been investing into Oncology Venture. I don't know how many of you have been there. What CHOSA is basically we had a management buyout of a product that we saw was the most important in Oncology Venture, and Oncology Venture is today listed in the US as Celerity. But we were able, as a management, to buy out a response predictor for platinum. We did you may have been also investing into Rovac. So Rovac was developing a vaccine for prostate cancer, and they failed, and that gave us basically, you could say, an opportunity to go in and do a reverse merger. And that's so if you have shares and you don't know where they come from, it's your Rovac shares that is now CHOSA. And we know there must be a lot of you that we have 4,500 shareholders in the company. So I'll start now, and basically we have a technology we've been working on for many years to predict response in cancer treatment. And the first thing here is a disclaimer which actually says that there are no promises. I must say this is probably what the whole disclaimer says, that you have to make your own decisions, of course. What we are is a precision medicine company. We have a patented solution to double the response rate to patients who are treated with platinum. I'll talk to you about what that product is. And in combination with PD-L1, and PD-L1 is immune therapy. You've probably heard about this revolution in cancer treatment, that we could also educate our immune system to attack the cancer cells. And this is done in combination a lot of times with platinum, and it's relevant actually in 16 different cancer types. What we see with our platinum predictor is a very important opportunity for going into a highly competitive market, which is approaching $150 billion annually. Today, the PD-L1 market is $60 billion, and we can differentiate into that market. We see within the next 12 months, we see some important milestones coming in. And I also think it is important that we are not a drug development company. We have, you could say, limited need for cash for reaching our inflection points. We aim for partnering with the big pharma, and also partner with what we call KOLs, that is key opinion leaders. That's basically, you can say, the doctors that are also advising the big pharma companies and also doing the presentations at the big meetings. And we have very nice collaborations here. We see a road towards also getting into guidelines. So we are currently doing a hybrid where we are doing a directed issue and a rights issue. And in the directed issue, we now have 3.4 million secured. And I just want to say that the runway, as you see on the bottom there, the runway for getting the next 12 months to get our milestones within the next 12 months is sort of costing us 7 million. So we have half of what we need for the next 12 months. We have an offering of up to 20 million, and that means that there's a rights issue of 16.5 coming in. And that is, you could say, consisting 1 unit, 3 shares, and 3 warrants. The warrants will be, you see, what do you call it, when you can invest into them 1 year from now, and that is a price of 25% up to where we are now. The share price in the unit is 0.62 per share, and that is a 15% discount compared to the price when we set that price. So the problem in cancer treatment is that it does not always work. Actually, if you look at sort of the most sort of heavily, the solid tumors that the most of, it's only 1 in 4 where we really get a good effect of product. So 75% of the cases, the product is not as good as we could hope for. And it, of course, the thing is also that there are many products. And if we can choose the right product, we may also have a better outcome. So things have changed considerably during the last couple of years, basically, that there are more options. If we give the wrong product, we delay the outcome. It may even be it may even be lethal. We see some unnecessary suffering and also, of course, increased healthcare costs. So we now have a predictor of platinum sensitivity, and we think that it's time to stop treating all patients like they were the same. Platinum is one of the most effective products. So it actually works in 40% of cancer patients treated. So we have a very important product, and we also have a way of seeing who should have it. I don't know, I mean, you may not remember Ole Ritter, but he was a Danish traveling cyclist, and he got testicular cancer in '79. And Lance Armstrong, you probably know also or heard of, he also got testicular cancer. So it's dangerous to bike, but they were cured by platinum. And this is not what happens, you can say, with a lot of other cancers. We don't have that high cure rate. So it's typically that it works in sort of 40% or less in cancer patients. When I talk to you about lung cancer, this is where platinum has been the standard. And it's been you can say, the only drug for lung cancer. There's been some combination, but it's basically been the only drug for lung cancer for a long time. But now the immune therapy came in, and that gives a synergy to cisplatin. So now we talk about really removing all the tumor cells and not just having sort of a benefit on the tumor. So alone, if we give cisplatin to a lung cancer patient, we can kill all the tumor cells in 5% of the patients. The immune therapy can kill all the tumor cells. It's a little bit better. It actually gives 8% when they are alone. But the wonderful thing is when they're given together, they kill 24% of all tumor cells. So that means we can cure 24% of patients with the medicine. And then when you go to surgery afterwards, there is no more tumor. So this is, of course, fantastic. And it is the best that we have ever had. And it's platinum together with immune therapy. But it's also obvious that this synergy is not seen with everybody. So it's only in 24%. And if there is better alternatives, you should not have platinum. And you should not have this combination. But if we look at this, what is it that we can do then? If we say we can predict who will benefit from PD-1 and PD-L1 products, if we take cisplatin, works in 5%, the immune therapy works in 8%, together it works in 24%. And if we go to the right-hand side and you look at the columns there, you say we don't treat everybody. If we only treat 1 in 3, we'll have our response rate going up from 24%, our benefit rate going up from 24% to 44%. We are now in a field where the treatment of immune therapy costs $100,000. So that's 1 million Swedish krona, or almost 1 million Swedish krona, for treating with immune therapies. And if we think about where we are in the field, there is 11 PD-1, PD-L1 approved, and there is 21 in development, or more than 20 in development. So there's a huge competition of this huge market of hundreds that seems to be $150 billion. What we can say is that you could say the 3 major players, they of course are happy with what's happening, but there are so many others who need to differentiate the product that they can do. And that's what we can provide. We can provide them a tool to give immunotherapy and platinum in some unprecedented successes. And that's what we are doing. That's why we're working with our key opinion leaders. That's why we are working with our sort of trying to get, you can say, into discussions with the market. So platinum and immunotherapy is the new gold standard in lung cancer. And you could say we see 25%. The combo here, the combination, has a clear benefit. But it's also obvious that there are at least 30% who don't have a benefit. And that's kind of a picture we see with bladder cancer, so that's blood cancer. We see it with breast cancer. We see it with endometrial cancer. We see it with head and neck cancer and esophageal. That's Mastrup cancer. So it's basically good for a large fraction of patients, but no good for another fraction of patients. So we can see the difference. And that's basically what we do. We have to look at the biopsy. So it's about looking into how the cancer operates. And platinum has been around for 50 years. And you say, well, why don't we do that before? It's because it's very complex. And I've been lucky to work with Professor Knudsen, who was able to, you can say, work before artificial intelligence. He had his human intelligence. He was able to come up with models, to come up with prediction. And we are working with a 205 gene profile. It's because it's complex. It's complex how platinum works, and it's complex when it doesn't work. So you can say what's happening is that at the diagnosis, we need a biopsy, and then you have the doctors to treat, sort of to plan the treatment. And our test takes like 3 days, and from the biopsy to the patient is being decided on is like typically 2 weeks. So we have a comfortable window to do the test, and then you administer the treatment. We have this. You can say we now don't use guesswork. Now we can make the decisions based on biology. Our drug response, it's DRP, drug response predictor. It's a multi-gene test that predicts whether the patient will respond to platinum or not. And not only in lung cancer, but in different cancers. So it's the signal for platinum, whether it can work or not work. And it's 205 genes, and we have a patent on those 205 genes, and that means we can collaborate with any of those companies doing the immune therapies to help them develop a better product. So we've been working, previously we've shown in lung cancer patients. This is a little busy, but if you see that it's basically patients who have been operated for lung cancer. We know many of those patients, it's some years ago, we didn't have the immune therapy, but we could give them cisplatin after surgery to eradicate if there were tumor cells. And what we could see is our response predictor. If we were at the 90, this is the green there. If we were in the green with a 90, we would have, we'll have a 90% 3-year survival. If we're down in the red, where our response predictor says there's only a 10 score, there's a 40% survival likelihood or survival of those patients. So it's obvious that this test is kind of predicting whether the patients would benefit from platinum. We've done a similar study in breast cancer and published that a couple of years ago. Here we have 20% of the breast cancer patients. This is breast cancer patients with metastatic breast cancer, and we could show that the ones that are in the top 20, they were the ones that benefited. They had the responses that mean that the tumor shrunk. They also had you could say, progression-free survival of 19 weeks. It took them, they could benefit from this product for 19 weeks. It's not a lot, but this was compared to all other products basically giving them 8 weeks. So it's heavily pre-treated breast cancer patients where we could give them a little window of opportunity. So we have now, you can say, both with cisplatin and its sister molecule carboplatin, we have now validations in 2 lung cancer studies and in 2 breast cancer studies. So how do we see this being utilized commercially? It's obvious that we need a partner because it needs to get out to the market. And we see that partnering with those immune therapy companies is probably the most sort of interesting way forward. The 3 PD-L1 owners that are the biggest, they have 90% of the market. That means that the remaining 30 companies, they have invested hundreds of millions of dollars on their products. Some of them have been approved, but they sit now with a very difficult marketing because those products are very similar. So we have a solution now where we believe that any of those, we can give them a gain in their selling of the product. So we basically have a subscription revenue. You can say basically pay upon what revenue we can gain. And if we say that we take a modest 5% royalty to CHOSA on what gain the company would get, and we say that they are selling $1 billion, it would give CHOSA a $50 million annual revenue. So that's basically the kind of, but it's not carved in stone how we see it, but just to see how much we actually could gain by having such a deal. So what we say is, don't treat the patients like they were the same, all of them. And we are now working with those key opinion leaders, and this is also what we're using the money that comes in from our capital raise. We want to continue to collaborate with the key opinion leaders, so they're the ones that are actually sitting out at the big meetings and telling all us doctors what is the best treatment, and we have collaboration with them. The first thing we're doing now is a study where we're looking into patients that have received carboplatin or cisplatin for lung cancer, and we got access to a large study, and we're working with 2 key opinion leaders, Solange Peters and Rolf Stahl, on this project. And we have a readout here at the end of this month. And then we have, you can say, the companies, those exit routes. There are many, you can say that we can see a partnership with for this, giving the PD-1, PD-L1 opportunity. What we see the next, you can say 12 months, is that we will do this lung study. I just talked to you about this. Is number 2 in the row here. A month ago, we presented to the market that we could predict also in breast with carboplatin. And with the lung study readout here in end of June, we have cisplatin and carboplatin, both drugs in lung cancer. And then what we aim for now is to getting biopsies from our key opinion leaders. They are the ones that treat the patients. We want to have the biopsies where they have now received the new treatment with immune therapy and cisplatin. So I cannot promise it will be successful, but of course we expect that prediction platinum will also be able to predict the synergy that we see with the immune therapy. And that's the readout that we see at the end of Q1 or in the mid Q1 26. And then of course discussing with the authorities to have this sort of test approved. So the key opinion leaders that we work with are, some of the world's best lung cancer experts. The 4 on the top. So Fred Heers actually joined our board. He's a professor at Mount Sinai in New York and responsible for lung cancer treatment. Solange Peters and Rolf Stahl are from Switzerland, and David Carbone from Ohio. Joyce O'Shaughnessy and Martine Picard are from breast cancer experts from US and Europe. Dr. Mirza is in gynecological cancer, and Galsky is in bladder cancer. We have, you can say, the same idea. Stop treating the patients like they were all the same. We need to test whether they're sensitive for platinum. So, summary, a precision medicine company. We have, I think, an opportunity to go into a large market with our immune therapy combinations. We see some very important inflection points the next 12 months, and we aim for partnering with key opinion leaders, research groups, and of course, big pharma. And we are doing a rights issue right now. We have secured the 3 and also almost a half of the amount that we need for the next 12 months runway. So I think that was my presentation.
Time for some questions then. We have a couple of minutes. I'd just like to start off with a short one. Can you tell us anything? Do you have any active discussions with these 27 smaller PDLs or?
Oh yeah, so they're not smaller. They're all kind of big. They have, but we have, yes, we are discussing with the potential partners. Yeah. I cannot, of course, you can never promise a deal. It's always very, very dangerous. But I do think that we are creating, I think, with the immune therapy platinum biopsies that we are now getting from our key opinion leaders, we expect to see what they call fear missing out point when we're reaching the readout in January. Yeah.
Interesting. Okay, so you mentioned that you overtook the listing position from another company. This was another company in the biotech sector, Rovac. Why did you decide to list the company?
So yeah, it was. We have been. I've been. Turbocharge was listed. Oncology Venture was listed. I mean, this has been how I've been. I think it's been very good for being able to develop products, and we also in Oncology Venture were able to develop this cisplatin opportunity so that we could take it over in our management buyout. It's also, of course, about getting access to capital. We've now done. In CHOSA, we've done 3 directed issues. So we've been very careful with not doing the rights issues. I said our first rights issue that we're doing now. But now we can also see that we are reaching our goals. We have spent a silent period, you could say, where we've been working, talking to the key opinion leaders and having them you could say, also confirm their interest and that this is a way forward. And we're now starting to get the data out of that. So being listed is an opportunity to raise money when we need it. I think that what we need now is not what I've been doing in Turbocharge. Oncology Venture was much larger amounts that we needed because we're doing clinical trials. With this test here, you can say if you do clinical trials, the price is typically $100,000 per patient. It's so exorbitant costly. With the biopsies we're looking at, it's $1,500 per biopsy. So we need to have the biopsies and the collaboration with the doctors, and then we have them to unblind and say, did our prediction actually, was it correct? So it's a completely different, you can say, cost-effective way that we look forward to.
Fair enough, very elaborate, thank you for that. As time is running short, I think I would just end up with one last question. I suppose that source financing takes a lot of work, but besides that, what are the main hurdles that you have to overcome in order to excel over the coming years?
So I think the whole thing about getting data from really high reputable colleagues out there and getting those data and having also our key opinion leaders present those data at cancer meetings is basically the way forward. And it is, I cannot promise, but I can see that the response prediction that we do should lead into changes in guidelines, how patients should be treated with platinum in the future.
Very exciting. Thank you so much, Peter Buhl, CEO of CHOSA Oncology.
Thank you, Oliver.